brings escape from fear. When you have become willing to hide nothing, you will not only be willing to enter into communion, but will also understand peace and joy. Isn't that beautiful? Mm-hmm. That's what this is all about for us. And that's like in chapter 1. It's communion. Did you get it? And this thus dispels illusions about yourself and puts you in communion with yourself and God. Your mind can be possessed by illusions.
I had a possession dream last night.
Did you have a possession dream last night?
Yeah, the demons had me.
Huh,
They were
okay.
tying me up against the ceiling and whacking me around the walls.
This was my hugest, this sentence right here. This was the one when I first read the course, and I just stamped it on my head, stamped it everywhere. Listen, this is truth, because I had that thing, truly believe it. It says, truth is always abundant. Those who perceive and acknowledge that they have everything have no needs of any kind. The purpose of the atonement is to restore everything to you, or rather to restore it to your awareness. You were given everything when you were created, just as everyone was. And so, yeah, I remember thinking, okay, I have everything. I'm just not believing it. And it was a fucking mess in my backyard. You have no idea. I thought, okay, I have everything right now. You don't care.
Are we ready?
This is what you have to do the whole time. Are we being taped right now? Oh, we are. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, welcome. We're here at Living Miracles Metaphysical Center again, and I was feeling just, the importance of talking about no private thoughts. One of the things that we do here, and one of our 2 guidelines, is no private thoughts. I know people pleasing is another one. Mm-hmm. And I guess I just wanted to share, what that really means, because I know that people come here for retreats and they come here for, visits and coming to us, and knowing that as a guideline, a lot of people become really terrified mm-hmm. about that. Mm-hmm. They think, oh my God, my mind, no private thoughts, what does that mean? And how do you live like that? And or they think that you can read their thoughts, and
Yeah, and they also think that you have to share every single thought that's going on in your mind.
Right.
Which is something we can clarify about as well. Because it's really not about every single thing that we're thinking. Thoughts will arise. It's the ones that we follow and that there's a charge on, and they keep coming around, that we expose. And you just read something really beautiful in the Course about why it's important to expose the thoughts and not keep anything hidden, which it seems like ultimate control, right? To just have your thoughts to yourself, and then you can kind of allow whatever to come out so that you can stay safe. And really what happens is, in that hiddenness, it builds, the illusions build and build and build. And this is a great subject for me, because it's been so transformational, literally transformational in my mind, to allow those thoughts, whatever they are, to come up and to be released to the spirit. It's not like we're just saying it to dump on somebody. We're really saying it in a healing, vertical way, so that the spirit can work with our minds and show us that they're actually false. And that's, to me, that's true authentic healing.
Yeah, and I just feel like, for me, like I was telling you yesterday, that I think I've always had a relationship with no private thoughts, kind of mm-hmm. like all along my journey. And then people would say, oh, you can't say that, you can't say that, you can't say that. Mm-hmm. And this gift of being able to just be so transparent and to be able to expose my fears and my doubts, and to actually have that intimacy. It's an intimate relationship where you're you're able to just lay down your mask and not pretend that everything's okay and authentically experience, like the true self.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, like the no private thoughts thing, yeah, that it is that trust too in the relationships that we have.
Mm-hmm.
And to be able to authentically say, I'm having, some hatred coming up,
Mm-hmm.
or anger, and to be able to authentically expose it. And
Mm-hmm.
the gift that I have experienced from that is just amazing. It's like
Mm-hmm.
this real clarity of mind. And also, that's how I have started to see that they're not who I am.
Right. Right.
Like, that's the only way that I have been able to see that now, because now I see that,
Yeah.
because in the minute that I bring them to the light,
Yeah.
it's like the prayer to the Holy Spirit and saying, wow,
Mm-hmm.
here, I want you to take this. I no longer want to keep this. I don't want to hide it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to expose it here. And also without having anyone judging you.
Right. Yeah, I remember my first real experience of healing with this, and I went to a devotional for 3 weeks, and I didn't understand the process of no private thoughts, but we would have expression sessions where we were allowed to bring up whatever we had a charge on with the group. And for the first few days, I was sitting back going, wow, she's got a lot of stuff going on in her mind, and just really judgmental of my brothers and sisters in the circle. And I would only expose what I thought sounded good. I had an incredible, like a spiritual mask going on, thinking I was above this. And about the 4th or 5th day, I started to realize, as people were unloading, that it really meant nothing about who they were. It was actually like this incredible process of seeing that those thoughts had nothing whatsoever to do with me or with them. And I think that's the gift of it, is finally seeing my meaningless thoughts on an experiential level, and thank God that they meant nothing about myself or who I was with. And I was able to just, it was almost like my mind just shifted from that point forward into seeing the value of the process. Because at first I think people just, you come in with all sorts of concepts around anything, really. And so it was like but I actually felt it in my mind. Somebody was sharing something seemingly about me, and it was like all of a sudden my mind just went, oh my God. It was like an expansion in my mind, because that's really all the Course is showing us, is that our thoughts are meaningless, and to start to connect in this vertical experience with the Spirit. And so it's like an expediter, it's a fast track if you have the courage to do it, because it takes tons of courage to sit there with holy companions and start, saying your thoughts, and they can be pretty intense. I mean, we've had some sessions that are pretty intense, but my God, and then after, it's like you think, the person that you're sharing about or whatever is going to feel, whatever they're going to feel, maybe reject you or whatever, but what ends up happening always, it seems like the relationship gets closer, closer and closer. And it's not really a relationship with a person, but it's like learning how to trust, right? It's like really learning how to trust the Holy Spirit has you, and that this darkness has to come up. And all of our thoughts are just the covering, like the Course talks about, the covering over our inner radiance. And the only way to get to that inner radiance is to see what's not that, and to let it go. And so that's why I just feel like the most powerful healing tool that we use here is that release of those private thoughts. And it takes tremendous courage and patience with yourself too, as you start to work the process, but then you see the results. And it's like, then you want to get those thoughts out as quickly as possible. I know I join with you and I just say, look, this is what's going on, and that you're able to hold that space for me and always be met with love. And it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, because something that I know for me, it's like, the Course is taking us to an experience. So like you can talk about it and you can think about it, but it's this practical application of actually, it takes a lot, like you're saying, a lot of trust to be able to be willing to expose, and it's very intimate. And yeah, for me, I just feel like as a communication device, like Jesus is saying that we are with these communication devices. And so Actually, it's like the clearing away of the false so that the Holy Spirit can actually commune through you.
Right.
So it's an actual experience of communion. And I love that when you can feel that together, that there's nothing hidden. It's actually an experience. And it's not, to the ego, it's like to give up that is to lose something. But to the spirit, is this joining in the truth, and neither one of us taking it personal, and just knowing that this is just the purification that's necessary. And and I just feel like it's a really huge gift.
Yeah, it's like Jesus talks about miracles are natural, but purification is necessary first. Well, what does that even mean? And a lot of course students, I know for myself, I was so busy metaphysically ghosting my feelings, meaning...
What does that mean?
Just meaning that I would cover over with it's just an illusion. And I really actually thought I was practicing forgiveness. But I noticed that I didn't have a consistent state of peace of mind. It was really not getting me anywhere. I could manage the illusion, but I wasn't healing. And so that saying it's just an illusion, which is a real trap for a lot of core students, and I was one of the best at it, but I actually was very sincere in it. I thought that was forgiveness. And so when I started seeing that in my life there was not a consistent state of joy or peace, or I didn't feel like I was moving forward, you know what I mean? It was like I felt like I had hit a ceiling with the Course, and I had studied it for years and I loved it. I really wanted to start to experience the things that Jesus promises us, but it was like I didn't know how to do it. And then when I came upon David Hoffmeister's, his teachings, it was like, okay, here's somebody that's taken it all the way. I don't even know how to do it. I just kept hearing you need to go deeper. And I thought, well, I've gone as deep as I can go. And then, of course, what I needed at the time came in. And then just seeing how the process is given, with this no private thoughts, and being able to start to get in touch with the emotion, not spiritualize it. I had such a spiritual yearning to be spiritual that I was missing the authentic healing altogether, really, because I was just so wanting. I had this idea of what spiritual looked like, and I just wanted to fit into that, and kind of like just really hold up this idea in my mind, not out of arrogance, but just out of pure sincerity in my heart. It's like I thought that was the way to do it. And so when this started coming in, and seeing the authenticity of the healing, and getting in touch with the emotions and even the rage, which I've had a pretty seemingly good life, so I didn't have a lot of anger and rage, but after this, peeling back and peeling back and peeling back and going further and further into my mind, then the hidden darkness started to arise. And like Jesus says, at a certain point you won't go alone, you'll have mighty companions by your side. I can see that's, for me, it's been completely necessary for people who have walked before me, who can hold me through it, because you really don't even know what's down there. And I was a little shocked by it, and so it's like, it feels like such an authentic healing now compared to what it was. And also the experiences of after, the exposing and the expansion in the mind, and the peace that comes in, and the love that starts to emerge. It's like one of my favorite lines in the Course is, and the self will tell you of yourself. Well, how does that happen? It happens once we do the purification. And most people don't want to walk through that. They don't want to go through that uncomfortable period. And Jesus talks a lot about extreme discomfort and vigilance and commitment. And you say a lot, if you want the kingdom of heaven, you must focus your full attention on it. And it's like, well, what does that really mean? Focus my full attention on it. I was so busy trying to pull the illusion and the truth together and make them mix, have a little bit of both. And it got painful, because I knew the desire of my heart was for the truth. And so I had to see that I kept reaching and wanting the world to join me in this. And so then the full commitment came in. And I feel like any authentic spiritual journey, you have to walk through that darkness. And a lot of people want to just feel good. I mean, really, the ego just wants to feel good, you know. It doesn't really want to turn around and take a good hard look, and that's really what we're committed to, so that the essence of who we are can shine. You know. So it's quite the ride. No doubt about that. I always say it's not for the faint of heart, but certainly worth it. Certainly worth it.
Yeah, well, I guess what I would like to do, just because it's kind of how we live and it's just day to day. This is what we're doing all the time here.
Yeah.
And yeah, just to kind of talk about, our daily lives here, even with our expression sessions and, how we live. I mean, there's this peace of mind that we're being called into, which is very high level mind training. And it's also a high level of communication. And I know with our relationship, it's like a marriage. We're married in our minds to keeping our minds clean together and really feeling that communion, which I love.
Yeah.
We just love that. And yeah, and I guess I just want to share with people, I guess I just, had the guidance to do this thing this morning about no private thoughts, because I know that, yeah, it seems terrifying, but it's actually another way of experiencing this journey.
Oh, yeah.
It's experiencing that you're mind instead of a body, and like bodies together and mind separate, that's how the ego's world, is run, and how actually our world is run minds together, bodies just kind of go into their function. But the main purpose is our minds feel connected. And on a day-to-day basis, how that plays out here, like I feel like, I love to go around and do like a check. Mind check. And not that anyone's guilty or anybody's doing anything wrong, just for us to have the opportunity to kind of really authentically look at some disturbance that's in the mind that would be keeping us from being really in our function and our, because it's disabling, and knowing that it's not personal has been a really, really beautiful thing too. Like if someone's having attack thoughts towards me or I'm having them towards you seemingly, like I can really own that it has nothing to do with you. Yeah. And just really, really, I just feel like it's an honor to have this development of intimacy and to really see the depth that the mind can go into an inner experience through that process. Like David just got back yesterday, and one of the things, it's almost like our minds just go into this and he came back from China and he was sharing all his stuff about the purity of all the people there and them loving him, and and just how beautiful and gracious he was treated, and and then he asked me how it was going here at the monastery, and I started sharing with him, and then I don't know if we're going to put this on the film or not.
Probably. With that said, probably it's coming straight to you.
But it's like, for me, and I started sharing about, people are opening up and, how it's going here and da-da-da-da-da. And I said, and I knew that there was something I needed to share with him. And then I said, speaking of private thoughts, I think I have a couple that I need to share. And because the thing is there's no real joining.
Without it.
There's no real joining. And it was so beautiful. I mean, he just flew in, like he flew 30-hour flight, whatever.
Lisa's got a couple of private thoughts.
And I said, we can wait till tomorrow. And he said, no, I want to join with you tonight. And he said, let me just unpack. But it's so beautiful because, like it's the priority. Like the priority is for us to keep our mind clean. And also like the guilt in the hiddenness. Like it's like this fear of punishment or fear of rejection or fear of whatever in this hiddenness. And every time that I bring it to the light, it's like the Holy Spirit is immediately there to take it out and create this deeper joining it's like you just keep going deeper and deeper into this, that love is the only thing that matters. Like nothing, yeah, nothing real can be threatened, nothing unreal exists, and herein lies the peace of God. And to really truly, have that purification.
Yeah.
And it's like forgiveness. Forgiveness is that joining and feeling that intimate connection. And so I feel like just on a daily basis, we have this beautiful opportunity to do that with everybody. I get so excited about it because I love to join with people even in the morning. I love to look in their eyes and, just feel if there's anything even for myself, or if it isn't with me, then it's like just like feeling that deep connection. And yeah, I just feel like it's a beautiful blessing to live in this experience of that communion.
Yeah, it's the most powerful thing ever.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. I remember when I used to read the Course and I would think, how in the hell am I ever going to stop judging? I mean, really. It's like it's constant. So how does that even happen? Well, I'll tell you what. You start practicing no private thoughts, and you start seeing that forgiveness is just recognizing the faults as faults, and you begin to rise above the battlefield. And what is the battlefield? It's our thoughts. It's the thought of separation. It's the thought of judgment. And what happens is, it's not that you can ever stop judging. It's that you just see that you can't judge.
Right.
Truly, the thoughts are meaningless, so what is to judge? But that's an experiential thing that has to happen in the mind, right?
Right,
I mean,
because
I used to say it.
Yeah, but that's
But
the whole
nothing.
thing. Like when you really come to the realization that my thoughts actually are meaningless. But you can't know that until
you start.
Yeah,
You work
it's
the
like
process.
well, right, because you have no one joining you in them.
Right.
So they just drop off.
Yeah.
Any guilt or any fear or
Yeah.
any unworthiness that I might have or
Yeah, and that's
whatever.
why we can sit in a circle now and hear, and we've heard everything there is to hear. And it's just to be able to sit and really have the experience of holding the presence of non-judgment. And boy, you can feel that when that happens. When I'm with you and I have something that's churning and I just, I've got so much self-judgment around it, and to sit in that presence with you and have it rise up, I can't even, it's just
Right.
such a gift to the mind, and to know that I'm not met with anything but that true presence of innocence and that reflection of innocence. And the Course in Miracles, to me, I swear, if I would have known what it was saying, I just don't think that my mind could have handled what I thought I had to walk through. But it's like, it's all worth it because of the experience that starts to arise. But it does take a tremendous amount of courage to even clearly communicate. I mean, we've seen that so many times where clear, direct communication has been misinterpreted as being somehow, it's got so much self-concept wrapped around it, like rudeness, or, you know what I mean? It's like, if I remember when I first came to the Peace House and Carrie was there, and she's very direct and very clear, and I was like, well, I think there's a nicer way to say that, but it's like, but the truth is she was just truly communicating clearly. But it's like we have got this kind of manipulation and
trying to be nice.
Yeah, convolution. And it's just exhausting to try to see what somebody, how
to maneuver around,
communication,
to maintain a concept.
And to have you like me.
Right,
and
it's all
just,
concept.
Oh my God. And the other thing is what this does with the like the expression sessions that we do here, it's like it's a vertical raising up, right? I mean, we don't go at each other. It's like we know that we're exposing these thoughts so that really we can lift them up together. And I love the power of that when we're all together. Like, okay, now those who are sitting and listening to whatever's being exposing, they're practicing the presence of mind to just allow and support that person, and then also watching their own thoughts if they're having judgments or whatever, and then they can expose that when it's their turn. But it's just so amazing, to be able to be met with that innocent reflection. I think there's no punishment. It doesn't matter what you have going on in your mind. Just get it out. see your innocence. And so, yeah, at first it takes a lot of courage, but then it's like, here, please, just listen. I just got this stuff. Help me lift this up as quickly as possible so I don't have to walk around with this in my mind. Yeah, so it's, I just feel like it's just a beautiful way to see and feel and truly get in touch with, we are pure and we are innocent, and these thoughts are not who we are. It's like a parallel thought systems. They don't cross. We have to start thinking thoughts for God. Like, that's why the workbook lessons, so we can start thinking those thoughts with God instead of following thoughts of fear. And this is just bringing all of those fearful thoughts to the surface. And some are there that we've pushed so far out of awareness we don't even know they're there. So it's just this beautiful kind of bringing everything into alignment with the truth of who we are and start seeing it. I always loved the symbol in my mind of actually coming from the place of truth and then seeing where I want to sleep. It's not I'm asleep and I'm trying to wake up. It's like, okay, Jesus says I'm awake, and then I've fallen to sleep. So it's like, it's not this form figure out here trying to wake up into the light. It's, okay, I'm the light, and look where I'm tempted to sleep. That was much easier for me instead of feeling like I was here trying to wake up. It's like, okay, I'm awake. I have a temptation to sleep over here in this judgment or whatever it is, and to bring it back into the light. And that's really what we do with the expression sessions and exposing all of this stuff. I like it.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
It's a huge gift.
It is, and for me, I just have seen how, it's been a gift for me to be here, just to kind of facilitate and help everyone, and to really see like there's just one mind, and like every one of us, every person that's showing up, or it's like we're all going through the exact same thing, and how terrified we really are to join. And I feel very honored to be that catalyst for God, and to,
like midwives.
Yeah, like bringing people into, this willingness, this tiny willingness to trust, to come here. I say the hardest part is to get here.
Yeah.
That once you get here,
yeah.
Well, most people don't want to leave once they get here. They either want to leave very
really
swiftly, or we can't get rid of them.
Yeah, it's like, I remember when Jorge came and he was like, where's the love? Because we come in thinking of, especially of a monastery or something, like it's going to be all this, peace and love and joy. And there is that, of course. But, we really do focus on what the Course teaches, which is removing the obstacles to love's awareness. So we're not trying to skip steps. We're allowing that to naturally arise up as we authentically heal our minds through walking through the darkness. And so it can be a bit of a shock to people when they get here and they sit in on their first expression session and somebody's letting it rip. And so it's quite a process. I know for me it was as well when I first came to my devotional. So.
Yeah, and it's funny because yesterday at the table, it's like the table's getting bigger. We need to expand that room in there, just because like all the people are coming down here now, and and just how there's a draw to that intimacy and that trust, and that's why everybody's part's essential, and everyone who's speaking at that table, exposing something, and really seeing that has nothing to do with anybody else. I remember when we actually used to be at the Peace House. This was years ago. We used to sit around and do the no private thought things, and I remember when I was first there, so it was like in the mornings, 9 o'clock in the morning, we'd all sit there and drink our coffee, and all of a sudden, Jenny would say, "Yeah, I got some stuff with you, Lisa." And I remember like, okay, here we go.
Yeah,
brace for it, here we go.
Yeah.
And almost like, go ahead and say it, I just watching my emotions. The whole process it's really about, it isn't just about sharing the private thoughts, because it's watching your reactions and your defenses that come up. If I defend myself, I'm attacked. And so the gift for me has been to be able to stay there when someone seems to be having an upset with me or whatever seems to be happening, just holding the space, and then just praying for the Holy Spirit to come in and say, okay, Holy Spirit, you better join me here right now. Join me here right now. And then just sitting there and watching, like, whatever reaction is coming up, and like really looking at the guilt or the fear or like the temptation to defend myself. Well, no, I said that because of this. Oh no, well, I'm gonna, and just to really, like this really transfer of training to see how this mechanism of defense is covering up all this self-concept that we're trying to maintain of being, like, having our act together. Like, if you only knew everything about me, whatever Jesus says, you would recoil, or, and just always trying to maintain, no, I'm going to tell you I'm perfect. No, and just to really allow yourself to authentically face those unworthiness thoughts, and allow yourself to feel the guilt instead of suppressing it. To really authentically, connect with the Holy Spirit and say, okay, here it is. Here's my guilt. I'm not going to defend myself again today. And there's this beautiful washing that happens. There's this beautiful, beautiful washing that starts to occur because you start to see where you are attached to outcomes. You are attached to defense. And you get to see where that contraction of that no longer, you really start to see, I'm willing to trust letting that go now. Really kind of experiencing, the grace of the Holy Spirit coming in and really saying, I'm going to put my armor down now. I'm not going to hold the sword up anymore. Because Jesus says, the minute that you feel that stab of pain, remember, it can only be your interpretation, and to lay it down immediately and ask me for my interpretation. So it's this real focus, and that's the mind training, is to really pay attention to the thoughts and meet them head on instead of jumping around them, with this miscommunication. And even being able to say, I'm feeling very guilty right now, or, to say, this is the experience that I'm having after you share that, it's just this washing away of the attack thoughts. Like, there's no other way.
And I think one thing that's been really wonderful to experience is seeing how exhausting holding yourself together is. I just, until you start to rise above it and start to see it for what it was, you don't even know how exhausting and how much effort, like you were saying, defense, to hold this idea of ourselves together. And the Spirit wants to give us everything, but we're so busy being defended, and we don't even know how defended we are until you authentically start unwinding from this thing. I mean, I had no idea how much effort it took just to hold the spiritual self-concept, and that was just one of the many, together. And to just start to let that fall, and to fall into such a nurturing embrace by the Spirit that says, you don't have to do it that way anymore, And to me, that's where it feels so supportive and really like a warm blanket around us, like, I've got you. Just give me everything that no longer serves you, that's not worthy of your holy mind. Give it to me. And it's all of those defenses and all of that stuff. And it's just like, my God, I have no idea how, no wonder everybody's so tired. You know what I mean? It's like everybody's exhausted. I can see why people take antidepressants. I can see why people kill themselves. I can see why all these things in the seeming world happen, because there is just such a state of terror in the minds. And me seemingly having a decent life, and I got to see what was under there. It's pretty, it can be arduous at times, but the lightness that you're met with, and just to know that the Spirit has us completely, but we just you know, there's some fighting and some defense and some, you know, basically it's just sheer fear of letting go. You know, it's like, what's that part in the Course where he talks about taking the scissors away from the baby? It's like we're little babies and we're asking for far too little, and we're wanting to hang on to what feels secure, and that, underneath that, is sheer terror. It's like, okay, let me just give it up.
Right, and pretending that you know what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the
hideous.
well, it's the hideous thing where you have, you know.
It's all exhausting.
Right.
Really.
Well, because we've been taught we need to know.
And we need to be responsible.
We need to be responsible. We need to know what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Keep your act together,
Yeah.
and prop yourself up. You know what you're doing, and to really come into this realization
We don't know
that
anything.
we don't really know anything. It's this total unlearning, and like, you know, your best plans led you straight into hell, and
Right.
and you know, just to really come to this humbleness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, and we talk about prayer a lot too, you know, this humble thing. I mean, what's the purpose of prayer but to ask?
Right.
You know, and you're not going to ask
Yeah. And
if you think you know.
Yeah, I think that what we're seeing so much of, I actually talked to somebody yesterday on the phone about the month-long silent retreat coming to it, and she says, you know, I've studied the Course for years, and I just feel like maybe I'm not doing it right, you know, because I don't feel the experience. And I think that that's what I love about what we're committed to and devoted to, is the experience, like the direct experience. And you've been talking a lot and sharing a lot about that lately, about the direct experience of that self telling you of yourself. And you know, we can study the Course for years, and that's a great stepping stone, but until we really start to apply every day that from that devoted place in our heart, which feels like it's calling us towards itself, and through these things that have been given that are helpful tools that Jesus gave us in the Course of Miracles, it's like you may know it in your brain, but it's like, you know, to have to go through these things and start to unravel and let go, and so that you can come into that direct experience, because that's really all it's for. I mean, otherwise, what would we be doing this for? It's not just to hang out. I know that you and I have made huge shifts in our lives so that we could answer the call of our heart, of that devotion, and we didn't do it just to hang out with a new group of people. We did it because we're completely committed and feeling drawn towards this true awakening and this direct experience. And
It's trusting God.
Yeah.
With all of our heart.
And what's being given. And
Right, and
this
it's
is
like,
our given path.
It wasn't,
you know?
right, and it wasn't
It's not what we thought.
Not at all. Like, never in a million years I think
Never in
I'd
a
live in
million years.
community.
No,
Dude,
no.
Jesus, that was not my plan.
No.
I thought it'd be
Yeah.
something totally, yeah, so it's like giving up everything that you thought that was
Going to be helpful.
Right, and then
I had
and then
my
living
plan.
with a group of people,
Yeah.
and like what, you know,
Yeah.
it's so disorienting, you know, especially having my own home, my own,
Yeah,
my own. Right. Now I'm like, you know, completely, yeah, we don't own anything.
Yeah.
We worked all our lives and we don't own a damn thing. But there's such a blessing in that, because then you don't have to maintain anything.
Yeah.
There's nothing to maintain.
Yeah.
You know, there's a huge gift in that, because it's not who I am.
Yeah, and our only function is forgiveness. That is our only function, and
Yep.
that's what we are completely dedicated to, so it gets pretty simple.
Yeah, staying in the experience. And if we're not in the experience, just look at what's the obstacle, and
Move on.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, very good. Well, that
That's
feels
fun.
like a wrap.
Let's go have some coffee. Let's go expose some thoughts.
Well, no, that's what we're here to do.
Let's see, do we have any right now?
Well, that's why I was trying to go. I was trying to bring you into the present moment here.
No, I
What's
think
happening?
Good.
Are you done?
Yeah.
Okay. If you want, maybe you want to say goodbye to the camera.
Okay, thank you. Can I do that right now?
Yeah, to this
Oh, this one, okay. Well, thanks for joining us. We're going to have these spontaneous kind of joinings, you know, as spirit guides, and we want to just bring you in and let you join us in this healing process. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Lisa.
Yep.
Beautiful.
Okay, perfect.
That was beautiful.
Look, he's back there.